are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
I've listened to that song at least 300 times in my life, and it's still a slap, man. Welcome into Running Point. Wednesday episode. Anthony, Scotty with you. We're not DJ and Richie, as it says up there, but this is the only split screen we got. So, Anthony and Scotty, but I just pointed the wrong way. Scotty over there, here with you on a Wednesday. Like always, we are the great brothers in wheelchairs,
Yeah,
and we are here to rock.
yeah. Or they could, since we're not, it says they're getting DJ and Richie, but we're not DJ and Richie.
Oh, our views just plummeted.
We're the backup quarterbacks.
Call in the reliever.
We're
Are you righty or lefty?
I am righty.
Oh, me too. We're both right-handed relievers.
Is Chad Henne still the
Anything is possible, man.
back? He's still their backup.
Still our backup. I think we gave him a pretty good contract for a backup quarterback after he won that playoff game. We're like, we better keep this guy around.
Yeah. I still have nightmares about that 13-yard scamper on third down.
It wasn't even a first down either. We had the guts to go for it on 4th and inches.
Yep.
And we threw the ball with a backup quarterback. I was like, oh.
And nobody was on Tyreek Hill.
Somehow, you
like-
leave the fastest guy in the NFL open.
It's like
Hopefully the Browns will do that this week when they play him.
Yeah. I know.
But we do have a big show ahead for you guys. We're going to have Dave Krisman, the head coach of the Columbiana girls basketball team, on at 1:15. After him, we're going to play an interview that we got this morning with Will Franklin from the East Palestine girls basketball team. So we're going to stick in the EOAC this week, and me and Scotty also have a bunch we can talk about for the rest of the show. Scotty, you always bring a topic you want to talk about. Let's start off with that. What's on your mind today?
Well, I was thinking last week we talked quite a bit, and we were kind of previewing. I wanted to talk a lot about my alma mater last week, and we were previewing that game. So to start the show today, and it's something I talked about with DJ on Power Hour last week. Like regardless of how it ended, Lowville, it was a really fun season.
One of their best in program history.
Yeah, they're best in decades. But I want to know from you, Ian, since going in, I got the feeling that, you knew Lucas could be a problem.
Yeah, I said it on Wednesday. I said, this team, they know how to win the playoffs. They're a program that's full of a tradition of winning, and they didn't have the best record this year. I think they had 5 wins in the regular season, but they're still a team that kind of knows how to win playoff games, and those teams can be dangerous. And I thought, they could be a dangerous football team. The style they play, when you watch that game, absolutely affected Lowville because they didn't stop Vinny Blown in the offense. I think that what happened was Vinny Blown didn't get as much time as he always does because Lucas never passed the ball. They ran, and Louisville couldn't stop it.
It's amazing as much as even high school has evolved with the passing attack the versatile threats now you have at the quarterback position. It's amazing what you could do, man, if you just run the ball when you have that great running game.
Like, so if it works, right? And it worked for Lucas because they, like I said, they never once passed the ball. It was all like, that's not even an exaggeration. They literally had no passing attempts on the no passing attempts on the in the game. So when you look at that, it works. If you can do it, man. I'm a Georgia Tech fan, so for years I watched the triple option do its job for Georgia Tech. When you can run like that and they can't stop you, it's a dynamic weapon, especially if you finish drives with touchdowns, which Lucas was able to do.
And not to get too far off track, but don't they say, since you brought up Georgia Tech, don't they still say that like the triple option type offense is like the toughest to stop to this day?
Well, I think it was definitely the toughest to prepare for because you can't go and cut block in practice. You know, you can't go and simulate that speed that a team that knows how to run it in practice. So there are things that you just can't scout for that you can for every other offense. So, it's definitely hard to prepare for. That's why a lot of teams in the AAC took, not AAC, ACC, sorry, took extra weeks in the spring and the summer just to work on trying to defend the triple option, not just the week before the Tech game. So, but yeah, it's hard to defend, and Lucas runs it really well. And a lot of other high school teams run it pretty well. That's why it's considered a quote unquote high school offense. When some teams in college run it, it's like, oh man, can't believe it. You're going to run a high school offense and think you can succeed in college.
Hey, teams,
it works.
Teams, yeah, they've done before. So
if you have the athletes to do it and you run it and you execute it well, it's hard to defend.
Yeah, like they say, the old saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right. They used to, almost every team ran the triple option back in the day. So it works. But for Lowville, it's tough one on the chin.
Real quick, Anthony, I didn't mean to cut you off. I've had a horrible habit that I've had for years.
Last chance.
But I just wanted for you, because we talked about how great a season it was for Lowville and arguably their best in the history of the program, or at least one.
You could argue, yeah,
best, yeah. But we also, even though you knew Lucas wouldn't be easy for the Rockets, you definitely thought, it was a game. I don't know if I should say you thought they should win, but
I honestly thought Lowville would win this game. I just thought it would be like, I know some people were thinking that it was going to be just a blowout just because they looked at Lucas's record and they looked at what Lowville's been doing this year, and they really hadn't been close with anybody except maybe you could argue Middle Ridge and Springfield got them a little bit close. But I expected it to be a close game. I thought Lowville would make a couple more stops, and then their offense would get opportunities to get the ball and score. But they couldn't get a stop against somebody on the line of scrimmage. I felt like there were some times when you're running against a triple option offense, you got to be disciplined as a defender. You have to stick to your assignment. And I think when they got behind a little bit, their defense stopped being a little bit disciplined. They stopped going just with their assignment. They went and they chased the ball, which is the worst thing you can do against the triple option, because then you leave the option that you're assigned to go get wide open. So I think, when you're a high schooler and you're in a game like that and you've kind of never been in a situation like that, because it was the first playoff win for Lowville last week in a long time, mistakes can get magnified. And when you start to get behind a little bit, you can get a little bit tight, and you almost get into that trap where you're trying not to make mistakes, and that's when mistakes happen even more. And I think Lowville, especially on the defensive side, fell into that trap a little bit when they fell behind.
And you mentioned a few times last week that one of the things that concerned you for Louisville going into this game is that not that Louisville couldn't win or wasn't, winning all season and maybe even surprising people in the way they were doing it. But your whole point was Lucas has done it in
Right.
the playoffs. So that was your biggest concern. And it ended up really coming to fruition.
Look,
You saw that experience pay off.
Yeah, that Lucas team never panicked. The game wasn't too big for him. The stage wasn't too big for him. Just went in. They kind of took care of business like you would if you were, a 1 seed in the playoffs. I mean, Lucas has been historically a dominant 1-2 seed in Division 7 before. So, they came out. They took care of business. They look good too. Their uniforms. I don't know if you had a chance to watch the game. Lucas has those like almost if you've ever seen Syracuse helmet, where it's not matte orange, but it's almost like if you mix matte and chrome together.
Thing.
It was their unis were slick. That's for sure.
I love that version of orange.
Speaking of Louisville, by the way, though, Vinny Ballone, we just announced it a little bit ago. He is the co-offensive player of the year for YSN. He shares it with Christian Lynch, but he's put together such an amazing offensive season. It was almost like the easiest decision in the world to put him as an offensive player of the year.
And he would I remember watching a couple Louisville games that I had assigned with you, Anthony, when we were doing the audible call during the regular season. And even when Louisville would start and they would come out and maybe start a little slow, the Springfield game came to mind. He just had such a calm way about him. And he would just drop dimes, man. Like, the ball perfectly. It was like he couldn't hand it off better to the receiver than some of the throws he made.
I like the word you used that best describes his growth from last year to this year is calm. I felt like last year, if it wasn't a perfect pocket, he would definitely make plays on the run last year, but I feel like last year when there was pressure, that's when mistakes came. This year, you could break through the line, you could pressure him, didn't matter. He was calm, he was cool and collected. He was much more of a calming presence for this Louisville team than he was last year. And I think that's where the big step came, where Louisville went from a contender last year that people thought could maybe give Springfield a fight to this year winning the MVAC.
And it's one final thing I had on this. All that being said, in the great year that Vinny had, and he's getting his accolades here from our YSN family. But do you see this, like, when you reflect back, and I know it's been less than a week, so it might be tough to do right now, but even like your immediate reaction, do you think of this Louisville season? When you think of it, is it just simply great year with a disappointing end, or do you see it as kind of a great year, but they kind of missed an opportunity because Louisville has struggled to put together consistent, consecutive, I should say, winning seasons?
I'll answer that real quick because we have Coach on. I just think the year's a win. It's one of the best years you've had as a program. Yes, it probably ended a little bit earlier than you wanted to, and probably ended a little bit earlier than people expected it to. But at the same time, you go, one of our goals at the beginning of the season was just to win a playoff game, and they did that, and they had one of the best seasons in their program history. It's a win for the program. I don't care how you slice it. So we'll go from that, and we'll go into hoops, and we'll have a preview of the Columbiana girls season with Dave Chrisman, the head coach of Columbiana. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
You got it. And what we do with all these interviews with the season preview, we start with kind of a reflection of last year. You know, you watch a lot of tape from last year. I'm sure there's a lot of things you take from last year that you can take into this year. What are some of your thoughts about how last year went and some of the things that you think you can take from last year and use for this year?
We had a good year last year. We finished 15-8, I believe. We tied with Southern Local for second place in the EOAC. I was pleased with our development. We do lose three key pieces. Tori Long, one of those really irreplaceable players, just super athletic, was a 4-year starter for us. Camille Zetner and Cassie Spate also were just key pieces in our 15-win season. The good thing about last year really prepped our kids this year for this upcoming season, because we had so many freshmen and sophomores that got legitimate time, actual time that mattered in some key important games. And we had a good summer. So, with those two things, I feel like we're going to be right where we need to be, hopefully, come playoff basketball at the end of the season.
All right, so now I want to kind of take into this year, and you did lose a couple of pieces, but you have a lot of faces coming back and a lot of faces that we're excited to see. So I want you to break down this roster, give Columbiana fans an idea of who your impact players are going to be, and who are some new faces that they should look out for as well.
We will probably at this point be starting at least 4 sophomores and a junior. We do have 2 seniors who are workhorses for us. They're going to be post player in Riley and Addie Zahn. But then we're just really a very young team. That's why last year was so instrumental for us, getting the freshman time and some of the sophomores time. So Ava Heinrich, just a really good athlete who has taken upon the point guard role this year so far, really pushes the ball well, knows the game well. And just plays some incredible defense. We have Caitlin Pleska in the post. We have Avery Marshall in the post. We have Elena Johnson as another guard. We have Ellie Venezia as a post/guard. And then we have several key players coming off the bench to help us out. Taylor Long, who could very easily be a starter by midseason. So we'll see how she develops. We also have some incoming foreign exchange student. Her name is Arate Leonarde, and she's very good. She's just learning the system, and we're kind of excited to see where she'll go, because she has a lot of natural talent that we found out in our open gyms. And then we have people that are going to be new to the program as freshmen. Evie Rapp, another just outstanding athlete, brings a lot of energy to the table, especially when we want to get up and do some things like pressure. Sydney Spate is another very good athlete. Bella Roush, Madison Janis. So we ended up having roughly around 13 girls. I would have liked more, but that's the way it is. So we are going to work as hard as we can with that group and hopefully be where we want to be come tournament time.
All right, now we turn attention to that schedule that you put out, and obviously the EOAC is a very tough conference in its own right, with teams like United and Southern and U and East Palestine and all these teams that are going to be vying for a championship this year. How do you see the league shaken out, and where do you see Columbiana in the picture of the EOAC?
Well, the EOAC is always on our radar. Before I got there, when I got there, after, it's just always going to be a goal of ours. But clearly, United brings back just a ton of people from last year in a very successful season. And I know that they have a new head coach, but, Corey does a fantastic job. He's been there. He's comfortable with the girls, so he knows them. So they're going to be very good. Coach Grinjar has just done a total redo of that program, and now they are legitimate, and they play super hard. He's got probably one of the best players in the area that play for him. So clearly they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Everybody is competitive. Coach Snyder does a great job at Lisbon. Palestine is always tough to play, especially over there. Latonia does a great job. We just have a lot of good coaches in our league. Valley Christian, Wellsville, they're all going to bring a certain element where you have to be prepared to play every night. Go to war, so to speak.
And then we know that you don't shy away from non-conference competition, especially in Columbiana. You usually go up a couple of divisions when you can. What does your non-conference schedule look like? Who are some teams that you're excited to challenge this team with and to see how you stack up against?
Yeah, we are definitely going to be challenged. I mean, we open up with Mooney. We have Brookfield, who is always a district, either runner-up, semifinalist. We have them on our schedule. We have Berkshire, who was also in the districts last year. So, non-conference wise, we just try to prepare ourselves. We do want to see good competition. And hopefully, we get to a point there where we are competitive against those types of caliber teams. Who knows then going into Division III at the end of the year. Hopefully we'll be there.
Coach, I was just wondering, no player or coach ever plays or coaches a perfect game, obviously. But I was just wondering, in your mind, the way you're made up, the way you think about basketball, to get to where you want to go this season, is there a certain area of the game you would like your team to be excellent at, and then maybe the other areas of the game you could get away with just being, good enough, adequate? Is it your defense? Is it rebounding? Is it hitting the open man? Is it, shooting high percentage shots? What would you say is most important to you in your drive to get to tournament time and win many games?
That's a great question. I feel like defense has to be the key. You're going to have bad shooting nights, but to me, defense is a heart and mind issue as well as the physicality, and you need to play together. So it needs to be team defense. If you can count on that every game, you're going to be in the game, because there are some nights you're just not shooting well. There are going to be nights that they force you to do some things offensively that you don't normally do or like to do, but the defense has to be consistent. And we are really ramping that up this year. We are hoping that we can bring a somewhat aggressive style that defense can become offense for us. But to nail it on the head, I think that it has to be our defensive mindset going into every game. Our approach needs to be the same. And that's our job as coaches, try to get that generated and make sure they're bringing that kind of energy every night on that side of the ball.
All right, you've been coaching for a while. So if we were to ask someone, like, whether it be one of your past players, someone that's covered you, someone that has played against you, how would they define a Dave Chrisman coach team? What would you hope the answer would be to that? Like, how do you hope that people would define the girls that you coach?
I would hope they would be able to say that we played with a lot of energy, that we played intelligent basketball. We made good decisions. It doesn't always work out that way. But I would think that we're going to have a certain mindset going in, and that would be portrayed by the way we do show up, especially on the defensive side of the ball, but even with communication, carrying ourselves on the floor, being outstanding ladies as well as good athletes and basketball players, because we are representing Columbiana. And that's important to me, that we take pride in that aspect. So those things I think you would see, I hope you would see. It's not as consistent as we would always like it to be, but that's what I'm hoping that our fans and anyone else that was an uncommon observer would see out of Columbiana Lady Clippers.
The lights just went out in Columbiana, and Coach did not miss a beat at all. He just kept going. I love it.
My room is on one of those timed lights. So.
When you look, I know you haven't had a whole lot of time with this team yet to really dive into what this answer would be. But if you had to kind of pick out one of the best strength of this team, and maybe the one thing on the flip side that you want to work on the most throughout the season, what are those things? What's the strength, and what's the one thing that you need to see a lot of growth from?
We have a lot of girls. Well, our mantra this year is to buy in and to sell out. And we feel like I feel like we have a group of girls that all get that. They understand that. Classic example the other night at Minerva, and we had already played 4 solid quarters. We're down in numbers, so a lot of girls are playing a lot of minutes, and just challenged them that one last quarter, 10 minutes worth to go super hard. And I tell you, these girls were laying on the floor after they were done, but that's what they did. It was a challenge. They took it upon themselves. We're going to sell out and play super hard, and that's what they did. And I'm just hoping that that mindset continues, because you can do a lot when you have kids that will sell out to that point, to that capacity.
Hopefully you can also sell out that gym. I know that community is behind you a lot. We'd love to see some girls games sell out of that great Clipper hangar in Columbiana. One thing I want to let you do before we let you go is kind of highlight your coaching staff, the people that help you, the people that are behind you, and what they bring to this program.
Greg Clark does our 5th and 6th grade, does an excellent job. He's kind of in charge of that, runs that for me. We got a lot of excellent coaches down in there. And, it starts there. We even have 3rd grade teams this year. Coach Huxell runs an excellent league, and we are involved in that. I have Ray Steve and Caleb Sims, who are our junior high staff. Just fantastic job that they do with our girls. The kids like to play for them. Ray's been around a long time, so is Caleb. And so I'm very at ease having them down there and what they're teaching our kids. And then I have an assistant coach who's like a head coach, Will Johnston, who was just an awesome player in his own right back in the day with Southern Local, has a lot of coaching experience. He works a lot with our posts and just brings this extra tenacity to our coaching staff to get things done. So that's pretty much our Clipper staff. That's what you'll see on Mondays and Thursday nights pretty much. And I'm very proud of, the work they put in. And hopefully we're going to put winning products all the way down through this year.
All right, Coach, give the Columbiana faithful a shout out. When is your first home game? When can they first come and see you guys in action this season?
Well, we actually open up at Mooney on the 19th, and then we wouldn't play again until we were at home on the 28th against Louisville. So with that being said, we do have a good following. The Village of Columbiana just supports all their teams extremely well. And we're proud to be Clippers, and we hope that we can come out and put a just excellent product for them to come watch and want to bring them back each and every time.
All right, Coach, we have full faith that you'll do that. You bring us back every time. We love covering you. Wish you the best of luck this year. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us, and we hope that we get to talk to you again real soon.
I love what you guys do. Thank you so much, YSN, and anything we can do to help you guys out, let us know.
Thanks, Coach. We'll see you soon.
All righty.
Dave Crispin, the head coach of the Columbiana girls team, joining us live on Running Point. Scotty, you had a great question. I love that. What are some of the things that you want a team, whether it be this year, whatever, what is one thing that you want your coach team to really excel in? And I've never actually asked that question. I've been more specific, saying, what's this team strength, which can be different every year. But you bring up a good point. Every coach has one thing that they want all of their teams to excel in. And that varies.
Yeah, I guess it's about
knowing
yourself, like having that identity. Like, okay, we didn't shoot the ball that great tonight, but you know what? We played that lockdown defense.
And Coach Crispin is a defensive-minded coach, and he's going to say, if we played good defense, we played good. That's it. We can have a good shooting day. We can score. Obviously, you have to score to win. But at the end of the day, like he said it, he wants his teams to excel at defense first. And a lot of coaches are going to say that too.
And I mean, I feel like too, if you could defend well, I mean, eventually the offense is going to come, because if you're diving all over the floor, if you're playing with high energy, right, making the opposing team take contested shots, it's gonna wear on them a little bit, and I think in turn that makes it easier for you on the opposite end of the floor.
One of the things I like about basketball, and I think it makes it kind of unique, is in the sense that on defense, it's one of the sports where you don't have to have a ton of talent to be a good defender. You don't have to have too much. It's just all about effort and willingness to kind of do what you're coached, like be in the right position. You have to have a little bit of a basketball IQ, but that doesn't take talent to have IQ. Anyone can go and learn the game of basketball. I mean, yeah, you need a little bit of speed and agility. That comes and makes a good defender. But at the end of the day, like on the offensive side, you have to be talented to be able to score, right? You have to be able to, have a nice jump shot, have to be technically sound with your footwork, things like that. But on defense for basketball, move your feet, hustle, get to the spot, stuff like that. It's all about effort and coachability more so than it is about skill, talent, things like that. You can take a basketball player with almost no talent and make them a really good defender. I don't know if you can do that in other sports, especially like baseball. Like you have to have talent to be a good defender in baseball. You have to have talent to be like a good quarterback or a good safety in football. You don't have to have a ton of talent, like raw talent, to be a good defender in basketball. You got to have speed and you got to have agility. But like this basketball skill and talent, you can turn a track star into a good defender. Yeah, you might not be able to make him a good jump shooter, but you can make him a good defender.
Yeah, and I really feel like it's that way even in the highest like, not saying, I mean, there's excellent high school. We covered it last year, the All-Star game. Every year there's, tremendous players, but even taking it up a couple notches, if you're talking girls college basketball or boys college, and then even if you want to get to the WNBA and the NBA, I just feel like so much of defense, like guys will they'll kind of get these labels as, oh, he's a great defender, he'll lock you down, or she's a great defender, or he or she is not very good defensively. But I think so much about it is just that effort,
Right.
You put to echo what
you look at like the
saying.
great defenders of the game, like just throw out like Gary Payton or something. Like he didn't do anything special on defense. He just got in there. He was willing to be physical, and he ran good defense. But it just wasn't like he did anything that no one else was able to do. It was just he was he had good instincts. He had good basketball IQ. He had speed, and he used that to defend really well. But you give someone his basketball IQ and his speed, they can probably be just as good a defender as he can. He was willing to buy into that identity of I'm a lockdown defender. And especially in the professional level, no one wants to do that anymore. No one wants to say I'm a good defender.
And I think a big part of that is it's not the we could look at any sport.
We're a very score heavy sports society.
Yeah,
we want score.
Baseball, they still say to this day, chicks dig the long ball. Like people want to see offense. They want to see home runs. Football, with the way so many of the rules are geared toward the offenses, and you have fantasy football, everyone wants to see points. And
even in basketball, I mean, you have a lot more tightly called games, and there's a lot more ability to foul, and you have to play a little bit less defense to not be called for fouls. So yeah, every sport is like they've watered down defense a little bit, and they've handcuffed defense a little bit so you can get higher scoring. And then in the NBA, they're just like, hey, let's just not play defense.
Do you think, Anthony,
that's why I don't like
it might be like I might be coming off as a little harsh, you tell me, but I feel like some players, because it's not a sexy thing, it's not a thing you're gonna get a ton of praise for. I feel like some players they couldn't care less about playing defense.
Well, look, because like Gary Payton is known for being a really good defender, but like how many casual sports fans know who Gary Payton is?
Not many.
How many casual sports fans know who Steph Curry is?
everybody.
That's exactly why. Scores get remembered.
Good point. That's good stuff there. I really didn't know where he was gonna go when I asked him that question, but I guess when you think
Those are the
about
best.
it,
Those are the best questions, though. When you're like, this answer is not predictable. Those are the best questions that you ask coaches and players. Like, I don't know what they're going to say to this. Those are the ones that are like, they give me the most like excitement to ask.
it was
Because some of them, like in these basketball previews, there are questions you have to ask, right? What's your roster look like? What's your schedule look like? But all those answers, like you can pretty much guess how they're going to respond. Basically, I mean, obviously you can't guess the names, but you know how they're going to go about answering those are pretty repetitive. But the questions like that are the ones that make those a little bit interesting and a little bit more unique from the other coaches' corners.
Yeah, and you can't help when you're interviewing, so many coaches.
Yeah, these are season previews. There are points you have to hit in a season preview interview, right? Like there are definitely points you have to hit in that interview. So, but we always try to make every interview a little bit different and throw a little bit of a screwball in there. Scotty, you did a really good job with that. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to play an interview with Coach Franklin from East Palestine, stay in the EOAC and hear from their girls coach. Ty Bartell caught up with him a little bit earlier. So we'll be right back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Locally owned and operated, Sheely's relaxed shopping experience means browsing and lounging is always encouraged.
Find Flex Deal and more at Sheely's Furniture and Appliance, because the best things in life happen at home.
How lucky are we to have not one, but two 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring golf instruction by PGA professionals, a state-of-the-art practice range, a PGA of America recognized pro shop, kids programs, and a relaxing grill room for a memorable golf experience. For more information or to schedule a tee time, visit millcreekmetroparks.org.
Fall is in the air. The kids are back to school, crowds are cheering for the home team, and Myers Family Insurance is prepped for another crazy Medicare season. Every year there's changes, some big, some small, so it's important to have a conversation to make sure your plan is going to meet your expectations for the coming year. Give our team a call today to schedule your annual review.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance or visit us on the web. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com.
Going from mindful to mindful sometimes requires a helping, healing hand. Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness offers a continuum of mental health and wellness care. At Insight, we're changing the way you receive counseling and wellness services with experienced licensed clinicians and expertly trained wellness staff. With 4 locations in Mahoning and Columbiana County, along with telehealth services, Insight offers clients quick access to care when they need it. Transform your mental health and wellness at Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our Valley's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
You're looking to your future, preparing for your goals, and they're closer than you think. Because here, success is part of the plan. It's a place where academic and social opportunities are meant to prepare you for life, not just the next 4 years. You'll be equipped to face new challenges and turn hard work into a career. You're ready for your success to take root. And here's where it starts. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with Scotty Mincher back in the studio. Second week back, Scotty, on Wednesdays.
Second week back. I feel like somebody, I mean, hell, maybe I could even be the leading role starring my own movie about me instead of Stella's got her groove back. We'll call it Scotty's got his groove back.
Stella. Oh man, we have another coach to get to. We talked to Coach Dave Krisman from Columbiana. We're going to stay in the EOAC and hear from Coach Franklin over in East Palestine. Ty Bartell had a chance to talk with him earlier today, so let's hear from Coach Franklin on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Welcome in, everybody. Ty Bartell in with another edition of Coach's Corner. This time we go to Stream City itself, East Palestine, home of the Lady Bulldogs, with head coach William Franklin over there of East Palestine. Coach, how we doing today?
Not bad. How about yourself?
Oh, not too bad as we get ready for this basketball season and gearing up for the start. The regular season is going to be here before we know it. What are some of the names and faces that are going to be returning on your East Palestine team this year? And what are some new names maybe that Palestine fans will have to get to know here coming up for this season?
Yeah, we returned a lot from last year. We only graduated 2 seniors. We returned 1 senior, Maya Lee. She's going to be the one that kind of drives our team this year, kind of leads us with just her athleticism, her intensity. The thing about her is, she played for us first time her sophomore year during COVID year. And we only played about 13, 14 games. Then her junior year last year, she broke her wrist like our 3rd game of the year and then came back and played maybe 3 or 4. So for a senior in our program, she only has about maybe 20 basketball games under her belt. So, even though she doesn't have a lot of experience, we're still going to lean on her a lot. Another girl we're going to lean on is Leila Martin. She started for us as a sophomore last year, ran the point, did a pretty good job defensively. So we're going to rely on her on both ends of the floor as well. I return a lot. Like my junior class, I return everybody. They played a lot of minutes last year just because of our numbers. So we also have Gabby Andre. She's going to be in there a ton for us. Jasmine Lute and Mara Zimmerman are going to, play our posts or power forward. So those girls are ones that everyone should know already. Then I bring in a new player this year, Sierra Lee. It's her first year playing. She's going to play down in the paint for us, hopefully get a lot of rebounds and help us out down there underneath. And then I have 2 incoming freshmen, Cami Kreidler. She's going to handle the ball a little bit for us. She's a good shooter. And then I also have Amara Wilson, another freshman who's going to see some playing time as well this year.
What was the off-season development? I know with East Palestine, with those girls too, I've heard those names on multiple other sports too. Yeah. There are multiple sport athletes there. But what were basketball-centered focus things that you wanted to look at in the off-season, or that maybe you guys discussed with on things you wanted to work on and improve going into this year?
Going into this year, we kind of already had a feeling we'd be low numbers. We didn't think we'd have, as low numbers as we have currently. But, that's our situation. So we're trying to make the best of it. This summer was the first time we jumped into a summer league out at West Branch. And we really enjoyed it. I think, we learned and those girls got to grow a lot in that West Branch Summer League because there's some tough competition there. And, we only were able to bring 5 girls every night just because of some girls have prior commitments and, how summer schedules get. So we were fine. We had 5 and, they played hard. They learned a lot that summer and it was very beneficial for us. And it helped us as a staff and as even the players to understand where we are heading into this season. And, the things that we do well and the things that we still need to continue to work on, we're able to identify early in the summer. And now those are things that we're trying to fix through our scrimmages and this first part of our practice schedules.
I think if you look a little bit and read in between the lines of last year's schedule, you would see there's a lot of close competition games in there. A lot of games, 6-7 point differential, which could have gone your way. What needs to go right this year, and what are the things that you need to see change from last year to this year to turn those close losses into victories?
I think our biggest thing is we need to understand, basketball is a fast-paced sport. You can't dwell on a turnover, a missed shot, a missed assignment on a defensive end. You only have a couple seconds, and we just got to keep playing. Go to the next play. It's over with, forget about it, and let's go. I think we did a better job of that in the summertime. That was part of that mental part of the game where the girls got a little more confident and, you mess up, it's okay. Let's go. Let's get on the other end and transition, whether it's offense or defense. And, you're not going to make up for it right now. Just keep playing and keep working. So I think for us, like you said, those 6 to 8 point games that, we dropped last year, I think a lot of that's going to come down to this year, our confidence and just, sticking with it. We're going to have to win some games by grinding it out, and they might not be pretty games sometimes, but, as long as we can get in that win column, we'll be happy. So I think our biggest thing is just that mental aspect of, understanding stuff happens in basketball. We just got to turn the page and go to the next play.
To talk more specifically, let's go into the ZOAC conference a little bit. It's always tough year in and year out, always great competition throughout. What do you see needs to, or what do you think needs to be done in order for you guys to start, building off of last year's conference record and try to ultimately get to that goal of getting a conference crown once again? Yeah,
I think it's, like you mentioned, the conference is pretty tough. I think there's a lot of balance. The upper portion is, there's some good teams up there. Southern Local, United, and Columbiana. Right now they're the 3 I think that the rest of us are kind of chasing. United just has the numbers, the size, speed. They got kids all over the place. And then Southern's the same thing. They have a ton of girls out there playing. Numbers are up. The one girl, Schroed's girl, she finds a way to score no matter what. And Columbiana, they've ran the league for a while, and they're not going to be down for long. I wouldn't think so. And they return a ton of kids too. So I would think those 3 are going to be, towards the top there. And then the rest of the league, I still think Lisbon's going to be very good. They return a ton of kids. Latonia has a lot coming back. Wellsville, I think they started a lot of freshmen last year, so they bring back a lot. Valley, they got a couple girls there can score the basketball, and then, then we're still there. And like I said, and I think there's a lot of balance. You're going to see a lot of close games, even with those top tier teams, and the rest of us are still going to be trying to strive to get up to where those guys are. So it's going to be a real balanced effort. And like you said, you got to start off well. I think we open up with Lisbon, maybe our 3rd game of the year for league play. So right off the bat, we don't have much warm-up time, not a lot of out of conference to start with. I think we have 2 out of conference games, and then, we're in the league play already. So, you got to start off well and put yourself in good position and just, see how we do until February.
And if I'm not mistaken, you pushed that Lisbon team towards the end of the season in overtime last year as well.
That's one of both those games actually with us in Lisbon. I think at home they got us by, it was like a single-digit game once again, and then at home, on the road at Lisbon, we gave up I think we had like a double-digit lead at some point, and then we let it slip away. And then it's tough to win in overtime on the road, and so yeah, that was a very, very 2 good, very good basketball games that yeah, our record didn't look very well last year. But we had 2 starters injured the whole year, so that was tough. But in hindsight, now that we gained a lot of experience for those younger kids that are now our juniors. They got a lot of experience under their belt. So hopefully, like you mentioned earlier, we can take those 6 to 8 point games and hopefully turn those around to some wins this year. But yeah, our Lisbon games last year, both of them were tight and exciting. It was good high school basketball. So we're hoping we can do that again, but just come out on the winning end this time.
You're talking about balance, and I think your schedule provides a lot of that balance. Obviously, the league plays tough. You're going to have to play those league games, but I'm talking non-conference wise. It seems like there's a fair amount of winnable games in the non-conference, but you're also going to challenge yourself in a couple of these games as well. Talk about this conference, or I should say conference. Talk about this whole schedule that you guys have put together this season and how you think it's going to help you guys fare getting ready for a tournament.
Well, we're playing some teams that we've never scheduled before. And some of that was to, with our roster to help us out a little bit to gain some confidence for league play and towards the end of the year in the tournament time. We're going to play some teams we've never played before. I don't think we've played Mineral Ridge since maybe my first or second year, and I couldn't even tell you what league we're in at that point. I don't know if it was the upper and lower ITCL, red, white, and blue. I'm not sure.
Around a little bit for sure.
I'm not sure what we were in at that point, but we played Ridge a couple times. We've never played Cheney, so we got Cheney on the schedule. East, we used to scrimmage a little bit. We played them in summer league, so we picked up East. Lordstown's a team that we picked up, and we're actually moved that game to a doubleheader with the boys now, since I don't think they have JV right now. And Heartland's a team we've always kind of played. COVID kind of got rid of that a little bit, and so we got them back on the schedule twice. It's a nice game to play. We worked with those guys a little bit in the summer before, so having Heartland back on there is nice. A couple other teams, like Liverpool. We've been playing Liverpool the last couple years, so we kept them on the schedule this year. And just a couple different games to get us prepared, get us some good minutes, and things like that. Another team we added on was Camel. I think Camel is a good matchup for both schools. So we're just looking at right now, right out of the gates. We open up there with Cheney and then Mineral Ridge. So those first 2 games, we'll really find out where we are getting ready into EOSC play.
And looking at this season too, I mean, you guys always seem to get great support no matter what the team's doing, up season, down season. You've been through it all, and you keep on coming back too. What's that love like for East Palestine, and what keeps you coming back and keeps you representing this athletic program and this team?
Well, it all starts with the kids. They're the ones who put in the time in the summer in the weight room. We put them through a lot of stuff in the summer between the weight room or jump stretch program, open gym, summer league. We have a couple of them now that are in our class during the school day that, they're still working out and stuff, and then they're attending practice. And like you mentioned before, all those names I mentioned earlier, you've heard before, because they all play volleyball. They all play cross country or run cross country. They all play softball. We have a lot of multi-sport athletes, so we got to get along and share our athletes. And, that's something we do a great job of, I think, of here at East Palestine. And yeah, you're right. We have been all over the place. We've had rough years, we've had great years, and it just happens in small schools. You're up and down depending on your roster and things like that. So, but the kids always work hard, and that's what it comes down to. That's what I care about. We step on the floor. Are we working hard? Are we trying to get better a little bit each day? If we can get that 1% better each day, we're going to be okay. We're going to be all right, and we're going to love our results no matter what it is, if it's win or loss. As long as we're giving it our all and we're competing as best we can, the results will happen. So, yeah, that support has always been there. Like I said, it's all about the kids. As long as the kids are enjoying themselves, they're getting better each day. They're working. They're building they're building skills. They're building the skills, working together, communication, problem solving. That's what we're about right now. And as long as they stick with it, we're going to be happy with the results. And, we always get that support from our fans, and our parents do a wonderful job, taking care of the kids, making sure they have what they need. So, yeah, I enjoy my time, and, I like coaching this team.
This team definitely is going to be, I think, fun to watch this year, especially with all the returners that you have. And no doubt smaller schools, have to deal with different sets of challenges than the bigger schools, no doubt. Mm-hmm. But I kind of am curious too, being in the position you are as a head coach, what are some of the challenges you see that kids have to face today in their own personal lives that maybe we didn't have to face as much when we were athletes and we were playing back in school? What are some of the present day challenges that you see these kids have to face?
I think, it is a lot. It's a little more difficult because everybody knows about everything they do. With social media, I mean, social media is a great thing. Like, when we were in school, this stuff didn't exist. I know Facebook wasn't around, none of that. No social media was around when I was in high school. And, you only found out about people from the newspaper. You had to buy the Morning Journal or the Vindicator to find out, to scout your opponents, whether it was football, basketball. But that's how you found out about who you played. We didn't build those relationships with other kids from other schools because, we didn't connect with them because we didn't have that platform, I guess. So at the same point, social media has done a great job, like having these interviews, having the player interviews. The kids get to, showcase themselves and their talents and their hard work in and out of the classroom. I also think, there's a little more pressure now because, after a game, boom, it's on social media. Everyone sees what your score was, how many points you had and things like that. There's write-ups and, so they I think they're held to a little more, I don't know. It seems like, it's like a little more pressure because everybody just knows everybody what's going on. And it's that instant feedback. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like say if we're playing Lisbon, we know we're playing them next. I know my girls they're looking on Ysn, they're looking on whatever it is to see who scored what and see the points and things like that. They're kids. And I know we would have did the exact same thing if we had that, I guess, advantage when we were kids.
Yeah, and we talk about it all the time. I say, we talk about it on our shows about we're probably a coach's worst nightmare because coaches try to keep everyone within the game right then and there. We're supposed to talk about what's happening upcoming and storylines.
There's I guess there's no secrets anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like even with film, like you can't everyone has everyone's film.
You can watch one too.
You can pay a couple bucks to get a game if you want it. So it's just different now. You know what I mean? All this stuff's out there. It's not like you're hiding secret things unless you have those in your back pocket that you're, just waiting on for that opponent. But other than that, everything's out there. You can watch other teams play. So it is great that these kids are getting to do that. Or if you have parents and family members that just don't live around here, they can still watch their family members play and keep up with what they're doing. So that's pretty cool for those kids.
I want to know some of the other coaches that are going to be helping you out deal with the family members and kind of make sure that these kids are having a great season and developing them going forward. I'm curious about who's on the staff and who other big names in this East Palestine program that you'd like to shout out.
All right, so we have Coach Barrett. She's coming back with me again. I think this is her, 6th or 7th season. Coach Barrett's back. She does a great job with helping develop our younger kids, getting them ready for me for varsity. And just another voice on the floor and on the bench and things like that. New coach this year, one of my former players. We're getting her feet wet here in the basketball world. Jocelyn Fristick. I'm pretty sure people know who she is. She's a pretty great shooter for us back in the day. So she's taking over right now. She's coming in and she's volunteering for us. She's working with the girls. So just having another voice on the floor, a former player that's played in our system and been in our program and had success. So she's going to do a great job for us and helping with the kids and their development. And she's someone those young kids can look up to as well.
We're definitely excited for you guys this season too. We're excited to see the development of these girls going into this year. Very fun team to watch a year ago, and I'm excited to see what EOAC play has in store for the Bulldogs this year. This has been another edition of Coach's Corner with East Palestine girls basketball head coach William Franklin.
Thanks, man.
That was, like Ty just said, it was the East Palestine Coach's Corner with Will Franklin. We decided to keep it in the EOAC today, Columbiana earlier live on the show. And now we get to hear from Coach Franklin at East Palestine. Should be a great season for both those programs as they fight each other for an EOAC crown. And that's going to just about wrap it up, Scotty. It's a great day, an hour-long show, 1 to 2. Before we get out of here, I want to give a shout-out to Howland and Mooney Soccer. both boys soccer teams playing in the state semifinal tonight. Mooney going to play Ottawa Hills down in Sandusky, and Holland's going down to play in Clear Fork. So they're both playing in the state semifinals. We wish them the best of luck. We hope that we can come back tomorrow and talk about two teams that punched their tickets to state championship games. So it's going to be a fun time as we keep an update on those teams tonight. We wish them the best of luck. And also, before we get out of here, I want to give a little bit of a preview of what will be on tomorrow's show. We're going to continue our basketball previews. Live on the show, we're going to have Josh Upshire, the boys basketball coach at Badger, at 1:15 tomorrow. We'll squeeze a few other teams in there as well. A few pre-recorded interviews that we'll get for you tomorrow as well as we continue to preview the basketball season, which starts in just over a week for the girls, just over 2 weeks for the boys. Gonna be a fun time. Check us out tomorrow from 1 to 2. I'm Anthony Hartwig. That's Scotty Mincher. We're signing out. Power Hour will get you kicked off from 3 to 4 today.